Hi everyone, my name is Daniel Holt. I am the founder and chair of the Association of Disabled Lawyers. March is Cerebral Palsy Awareness Month. As we close March and enter into spring, it's an opportunity to celebrate the occasion. Cerebral palsy is a impairment that I have. It's a common impairment with 17 million people around the world who have the same condition. Cerebral palsy affects around 30,000 children in the UK. Cerebral palsy is a wide-ranging condition and it can affect people in different ways. It's for that reason that it's important to talk to people about what support and may need because it will vary from one person with cerebral palsy to another. The different types of cerebral palsy include spastic and ataxic cerebral palsy, motor armor, those also I have becoming a barrister cerebral palsy hasn't been easy. Amazing away some difficulty. Away some difficulties. For example, many of the buildings I need to access are not accessible for people in wheelchairs or people with mobility impairment. Equally, people's attitudes towards someone becoming a barrister who's in a wheelchair and has a speech impairment can be quite negative and challenge some members of the profession have actually advised against joining the profession. However, I did become an unregistered barrister last year and I began papers at 39 Essex Chambers in October. My free piece of advice for anyone is thinking about becoming a barrister or firstly be confident in what you can offer. People with cerebral palsy and disabled people in general are very good problem solvers, and we can often find ways to get around a problem that others may not think of. We are constantly having to adapt our ways to suit the outside environment and our ways of operating can be different too. Secondly, be realistic about the way your impairment affects you and the way that affects the outside environment and the barriers in it. For example, I'm perfectly aware that I have a speech impairment. I have worked on to minimize speech impairment, and I continue to practice with great enthusiasm. I like talking. So that helps. Think about how you can manage that and minimize the ways in which people might say you are not suitable for the bar. Thirdly, join a community of disabled lawyers already exist in the professions. There are now several groups dedicated to removing the barriers in the bar and other legal professions. Joining the community is a good way of making friends and finding support and sharing a common understanding. Sharing information can also help you and others overcome the barriers that we face. If you are already a barrister at the bar, I would urge you to become visible, community support the next generation. Secondly, join the community as a good secretary. Thirdly, be active about removing the barriers in your chambers. Challenge the way things are going. And more disabled people and people with cerebral palsy to join you in the profession. Thank you for listening to me.